This meeting is being recorded.
So for this week, we had case study 9.2 called getting the project team back on track. So the summary of the case is Juanita Cruz is serving as the project team lead in her capstone entrepreneur course. Her group is being divided on what business they want to pitch. Notably, Ralph wants to pitch a marijuana business, but some members of the group, notably Megan and Joyce, do not wish to pursue the pot. They think that it would be immoral, and on top of that, they believe that because they're presenting to a group of alumni, that the alumni would find that distasteful. She even went as far to refer to them as potheads. Juanita has struggled to pick a side during this time period, wanting to remain impartial because it's split 3-3. So when she picks a side, it's going to influence what the group decides to do.
All right, so I had question one, which was, what has Juanita done right, and what mistakes has she made? So sitting down the team to discuss the direction of the business was a good idea on her part, get everyone's opinion in there. The handling of the Ralph situation was good and letting them have their own opinions. But one of the reasons she did not manage well was, like Thomas said, Joyce's attitude and obviously calling the other three members that wanted to start the marijuana business potheads was a little out of line. And I think she definitely should have handled that a little bit better than she actually did.
So what problems do you note in the interaction between group members? So they're way too far on everything. There's no real reason to be this far apart and to be this hostile with each other. There's no ability to compromise on anything. So what the group members are doing is they're playing a zero-sum game. Notably, Ralph is basically going, it's my way or the highway in a group project where the group is supposed to give and take to build the best business they possibly can. And as a result, it's led to multiple group members being not engaged. Megan has given up. She's on her cell phone during these meetings. Juanita hates coming to these meetings now. Ralph completely dominates group conversation, which wasn't an issue early on, but it's become a massive problem now. So because of the zero-sum game and the lack of willing to compromise, it's really hurting their group at this moment in time.
So on question 3, what skills do the members need to develop and what procedures or guidelines should they adopt? They very, very much need to develop communicational and listening skills because neither side is opening up to one another the way they need to be. They're not listening to each other's arguments or presenting, at this point, even good arguments. It's going as far as Ralph just calling the other members clueless and the other members just completely not paying attention, playing on their phones and ignoring everything, even though they shouldn't be. A procedure they could follow is, since Juanita was given a firing power, either fire one of the ringleaders, Ralph or Joyce. Firing Ralph would likely open his side up to being less hostile and more listening capable for the other side, and then she could side with Joyce's side, and that would sway the group and get things done. And since she's worried about Joyce's side potentially not getting their work done, she could fire Joyce, who seems to be the ringleader on that, just playing on her phone during meetings and just not paying attention, and then side with Ralph's side. And I think that would open the other two on Joyce's side up to the marijuana thing and give them reason to kind of follow along, since they don't seem to be as strongly willed as Joyce does.
So I had number 4. What steps should she take to foster cooperation and address the unproductive communication patterns in the group? One of the things that I did not say on the slide was she just really need to put her foot down against Ralph and kind of just remind him who's in charge around here, honestly. And then one of the other ways she could get the communication with them is them to both kind of sit down and listen to each other and explain why their side will be more appropriate and will get us the better grade for this project that they're trying to do. And also she could ask her professor, Williams, who assigned the project, and ask him personally about which topic would be more appropriate for them to get the good grade for the alumni. And then another thing she could do, last thing she could do, is probably just remind the students that are not participating is that their grades depend on their cooperation.
So I also had question 5, which was, should Juanita break the deadlock by supporting the marijuana store? And I said no. I said, even though she is doubting the plan, it would probably be in her best interest to stay neutral, because I feel like if she gets involved in it, she could potentially put even more of a split in between their group already has. And so her choosing one side just purely to get things moving along, even though that's not what she believes in, is not really, I don't think, a good way to go about it. I would much rather, I feel like she'd be a lot happier if they came to an agreement and it was something that she also felt very passionately about and was actually able to enjoy doing, instead of sitting there regretting that she caved to the fighting.
So for question 6, should Juanita fire Ralph? I think that Juanita should not fire Ralph because Ralph is not the only one causing problems. Everybody in the group has their issues. And just because Ralph's the one that puts his voice out there and puts his opinion out there and maybe is rude sometimes, he's at least keeping the group alive, and the other group members aren't really paying attention. So I think that would be best for their group to keep him in their group and give him a say. And like I said, he's not the only one that's showing hostility. Everyone has their issues in the group. So
question 7 is, what should Juanita's agenda for the next team meeting be? I said that Juanita should break her neutrality. This doesn't necessarily mean choosing one side or the other, but it does mean that she is being way too passive right now, and she needs to assert herself as the leader. And what she really needs to do is point out the problems that both sides are causing and try to find solutions to that. And a good way to do that would to continue to press the fact that their grades do depend on how they do on this project. So she needs to press the fact on that.
These are references just the Johnson text.